Matthew, finally.
Sure, thanks a lot. I have two questions. One is as you said about Ghana. There's some controversy about an anti-LGBTQ plus law pending, and whether the IMF, as some have said there, it's a kind of conditionality. What's its view of, is it aware of that law, and what, if any, is the connection to its programs there? And then about here, I guess about the United States, but maybe beyond, on commercial real estate, there was a talk by the IMF, in the last week on the anniversary of the failure of Silicon Valley Bank, talking about commercial real estate exposure being a big risk. There's obviously issues around New York Community Bank here. Steve Mnuchin has invested. Joseph Otting is coming in. What can you say about how broad a risk does the IMF think this problem is, and does it have any guidance? Thanks a lot.
Great, thank you, Matthew. I know we often get a number of questions on Ghana, so any other questions on Ghana?
Yeah, there's another question from
and I think we have one online question on Ghana. So Eric, go ahead.
Yeah. So can I go ahead?
I wanted to ask about the advice to the government on the anti-LGBTQ bill. You've said that it clashes with internal policies, but the impact that it could have on engagement with and program.
Start with Ghana. So on January 19th, 2024, our executive board completed the first review of Ghana's IMF-supported program, giving the country access to an additional. With respect to the specific piece of legislation, our team is evaluating the potential economic and financial implications of the legislation, and we will continue to monitor the situation closely. As we have said before, like institutions, diverse and inclusive economies flourish. And finally, on the timeline, we expect that the next mission, your question on commercial real estate. Just to step back and remind about the fund's analysis of this issue, we have noted that higher financing costs since the beginning of the monetary policy tightening cycle have resulted in rising losses on commercial real estate loans, along with, of course, pressures in the property market for this segment. Stricter lending standards by US banks have further restricted funding availability, and the effects of the tightening of financial conditions on commercial property prices over the past 2 years have been compounded by trends catalyzed by the pandemic, such as teleworking and e-commerce. Prospects for the sector do remain challenging. Our advice is for financial supervisors to continue to remain vigilant. I can also just note that we are monitoring, of course, the situation in this sector very carefully, and our team will provide a more fulsome analysis at the time of the Global Financial Stability Report. I would also draw your attention to a recent blog that we put out on this sector, which will have some more details on our overall position.
Thanks.
Yes, please.